Welcome to Hive Studios. My name is Lina Vaz. I'm the content editor at Hive. The pandemic has changed the way we perceive technology, has come to shape our lives due to its ability to keep us constantly switched on and connected. If we think of the retail industry, many brands and retailers developed their online business during this period. All these changes led to more and more time spent online, so much so that we started suffering from tech fatigue, an excessive screen time that causes tiredness and sleep deprivation. So what can be done about this? To help us understand how to deal with tech fatigue, we have with us Jonathan Garner, founder and CEO of Mind Over Tech. Good afternoon, Jonathan.
Hey, Lina.
First of all, how did you come up with Mind Over Tech?
So it was a number of years ago, and I was actually working as a developer. I'd been doing so for about 10 years, so working a lot with technology. And at the same time, I also had my own meditation practice. And I'm not a great practitioner, but I found that whenever I was sat on my cushion and that I gained some benefit from that, as soon as I went to start work and I picked up my phone and my laptop, the tools of my trade, basically, that any of the benefit that I'd found on the cushion was kind of instantly eroded. And that was just making me really unhappy. And I think at the time I thought that was a problem that myself as a developer who meditates, I thought like that was an issue specific for me. But more and more I've come to realize, and as we've seen over the last few years, I think everyone's relationship with technology is problematic. And so I founded Mind Over Tech actually with the purpose of trying to help people understand how can we be with our technology, but in a way where we can control it and it's on our own terms, not in a way where it's kind of using us or unnecessarily causing us stress or making us less productive or maybe even impacting our creativity. That's kind of the genesis behind it. Ultimately, what we do as a company is give people the tools and mindsets to take control of their tech.
So what services do you provide?
So the way that we actually work is predominantly with businesses, and we give talks and workshops and also different educational curriculum to help people with this. So that might look like, an away day where we get a large room of people together to explore for a few hours actually what is my relationship with my tech like and how can I take control of it? Or it might look like an ongoing on-demand set of bite-sized video courses that people can do during throughout the year to give them a bit more of a support when trying to be more productive or to feel better when using their tech at work. Yeah.
And when you deliver business talks, what are the most sought after topics?
So I think, well-being and the very basics about how to stay in control of our tech. This is always like the kind of number one on the list. And to be honest with you, it's really it's like the important starting point. So really just covering the basics of actually what are the ways in which technology can sometimes control us? What are the ways that it might negatively impact our mind from a neuroscience perspective, from a meditation perspective, and things like that. But then once you've kind of got the basics down, actually this kind of bleeds into loads of different areas. So it could be around communication, for example, like how do we communicate well in our digital lives? Or it could be about creativity. How do we collaborate well as remote hybrid teams in our digital lives? These are all really important topics. And I think increasingly what the companies are finding is that even topics like diversity and inclusion, which are obviously like really important at the moment, you might have a great diversity and inclusion plan, but actually how does it play out in reality in the online kind of chats and tools which you use? If you're not thinking about that, then that's something which can really kind of cause extra issues as well. So yeah, starting with well-being and those foundations, but then really bleeding out into all different topics of digital culture.
In terms of workshops, what do staff tend to struggle more with?
So in our workshops, what we really do is we try and make people aware that what we're really talking about here is our behavior when we're using technology. So actually, really, it's all about habits. And so how we kind of help people with this is that we offer them a range of different experiments which they can run to actually help them to gain more self-awareness about their use of tech in those particular different areas. So like I said before, people often have issues around well-being, about setting boundaries and things like this. So just to kind of share like some of the experiments that we run, because we have them here in this deck of cards. So this first one here is very simple, and lots of people do it to a certain extent already. But this one is called like avoid early morning tech use. So in this experiment, it's just about really looking at what happens in those seconds after you open your eyes in the morning when you get out of bed.
Instead of reaching for your mobile phone.
Yeah, exactly. And, so by running this experiment, we kind of challenge people to try and create a gap, whether it's 5 minutes, 20 minutes, it's up to the individual, but just to try for 24 hours and see like what happens if I don't reach my phone first thing. How do I feel differently? How does that actually set me up for the day? And quite often once they've done that, then they actually realize, even just this extra 10 minutes can really give me a really good footing for the rest of the day, for example.
Thank you, Jonathan, for being with us and for your amazing insights. I'm sure we'll all make an effort to be a bit more in control of our tech.
Yeah, I think also just to say, just encourage people to experiment and to be kind with themselves. You might try something, you might try not to check your phone quite as regularly and think that you failed if you don't manage, but none of this is a failure. If you try that and you notice how hard it is, that's a win in and of itself, because now you know more about actually how tricky this relationship is. So yeah, like definitely encourage people to experiment, but to do so with kindness to themselves. Yeah.
And thank you so much, Jonathan, for being with us, and thank you for joining us.